All right, hopefully it's all back and working now. I had to like exit out and come back in, so hopefully I'm gonna give everyone just a minute to catch back up to me. Sorry about that if you got booted out. Looks like the internet went out for just a moment, so uh, hopefully you can rejoin and we can go from there. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it's working. I'm going to keep going, and I'll probably have two videos to post now since I had to like exit out and come back in. Sorry, sometimes the internet will do that, right? So what I was going to say is if you haven't already, make sure that you get a copy of the ebook, right? Make sure you do that immediately. Get your ebook, get it registered, get going on that. Take the mandatory orientation quiz before this evening at 11:59 p.m. if you haven't done that. Try and figure out the subscription stuff. If you haven't done that already, everything seems to be working fine on my end at the moment. Everything seems to be working fine. Worst case, you can always go back and watch the recording later. Post that in there. So what I want to do, let me give you the extra credit question and show you how to answer that, and then I will hang out and see if you have any questions for me. So what I will do is I will always give you an extra credit question at the end. And I typed it out ahead of time just to save myself having to do that. So this is the week number 1 Twitch extra credit question. I'm going to put it here in the chat, and then I'll also explain it. So you get 2 points for every time that you join me live, or you watch this as a recording and you're subscribed. And then you answer the question on Canvas. Obviously, you have to answer it correctly. But the question for this week is, what is meant by the phrase correlation does not equal causation? Explain and give an example. What is meant by the phrase correlation does not equal causation? Explain and give an example. So you're not going to answer it here in the chat. Let me show you where you answer this in order to get those points. If you go to Canvas, and you go to our week, right? We're in week number 1. Everything seems to be working at the moment. See how it says optional Twitch extra credit number 1 right here? If you click on that link, it's going to bring up a page where you can start this assignment. And there's some reminders here. Sorry, it says 5 points. It's 2 points because it's 5 points because there's 4 weeks. Sorry, I was confusing you with my 8-week class. You get 5 points for every single one of these that you join me live and answer the question correctly, or watch this as a recording and you're subscribed and answer the question correctly. Okay, so up at the top, you can click on Start Assignment, which brings up this little box where you can type your response. And then once you've typed your response to my question, you hit Submit, and it's going to give you like a little confetti burst. And sometimes, medals. Sometimes there's random stuff in the confetti. This is due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And again, it's worth 5 points. These 5 points, if you do it all 4 times, that's 20 points. That's going to make up for a missed discussion, maybe a low exam score, a couple of points here and there that you've lost. Right, so really, I think a wonderful opportunity, and I really appreciate so many of you being on here live with me. There's like 18 of you in here at the moment. It's a great chance for me to interact with you and you to ask me questions. I enjoy the company, and it's also a wonderful opportunity for you to get some extra credit. So if you haven't figured out the whole Twitch thing, try and do that soon. Or make sure you put your first and last name in the chat if you haven't already. And then remember, I will always post a recording of this later. So it typically takes me a little bit to like download it and then upload it again. But you can find the recording right here, either later tonight or worst case, tomorrow morning. And then there's always this little wrap-up checklist at the end if you want to make sure you've done everything for the week. I've put everything kind of together. But if it's under the week content, right, if it's right here under week number 1, make sure you do it, right? So this is everything you need to do for week 1. And then next week when I see you, we will talk about everything for week number 2. And that will typically be my format. I tend to grade everything on Mondays. So our deadline is Sunday night. And then Monday next week, I'll grade everything. I'll send out your scores. I'll send out some feedback. And then we'll talk about it a little bit during the live stream for week number 2. And I know I've talked a ton tonight. I've gone through this quickly. Anybody have any questions? If you do, I'm going to hang out for the next like 7, 8 minutes or so. If you want to put them in the chat, I'm here. I'd be happy to show you something again if you're confused or answer anything about the syllabus or class in general. If you're feeling good about everything, you can go ahead and log off, get going on week number 1, get your book, get everything set. Remember, everything moves quickly, so if you get confused or lost or need help, reach out to me. I'm here, I'm happy to help you. And hopefully, you're all feeling good about the class and what's expected, and we can go from there. So, thank you again so much for joining me live. I'll hang out for a little bit, and then you can ask me any questions you might have. I believe you have a year. It's either 6 months or a year where you have access to the ebook. Again, you're always welcome to print it. I don't think you can download it, but I think you can print it if you would like. And you have access for, I think it's either 6 months or a year. And again, if you're still waiting for an ad code, I will try to get back to those of you who emailed me tonight. That way I can get you set since the deadline is coming up very quickly. So look for an email from me tonight if you sent me one about the ad codes. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you and good night. I hope you have a wonderful week, a wonderful evening. I get to go back to painting. I'm painting my twins' bedroom. They're going for like a Wednesday and Enid theme. Like half the room is really dark and half is really light. Hopefully it'll turn out cool. It's been a lot of painting this week. But thank you all so much for joining me. I will hang out for a little bit. I'm going to minimize my video just so I'm not staring at myself. But I will hang out for a little while. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I will answer them. Yeah, thank you. One of my kids is like really into like black and dark. She's totally like a little Wednesday. And then her twin sister is like into pastels. So one side is like a dark gray and the other is like a light purple. And then we're going to make that window that they had in the middle to separate it. I think it's going to look pretty cool, but it's definitely a lot of painting. I've got paint all over my legs. It's been a long day of painting for sure. So, thank you again. I'm going to minimize this just so I'm staring at myself, but if you think of anything else, feel free to put it in the chat. And thank you again so much for all of you who joined me. I really appreciate you being on here live with me. Thank you as well. I'm still here if you think of anything. I just minimized the video, but I am still here if you have questions. Michelle, I just saw your email actually. So I show a football cake next to your name. So you are good, right? So if you look at your name in the chat, if I pull this over a little bit, you can see that next to your name you have the little football and the prime. So you're actually all set. It might not have shown up on your end right away, but on my end, you have done both and you're set. And then someone asked about the ebook expiring. I think you have 6 months to a year. I can't remember if it's a year or 6 months, but you can always print it if you wanted to have, a physical copy of it. But you do have access for either 6 months to a year, and our class is only a month, so you have a little bit of time beyond as well. And you're welcome, Michelle. Glad we were able to figure it out. I saw your emails just now, so hopefully you're feeling clearer about that. You do still need an ad code, but I will send that to you when we're done today. Of course, thank you too. All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and close this up and then start the upload download process. If you think of any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week on Tuesday for our week number 2 live stream.